Fox 2 SPORTSWORKS starts now.
Good evening and welcome to The Works. Happy Father's Day to all of the dads out there watching tonight. We appreciate you taking time to make us part of your beautiful Sunday in Detroit. Plenty to get to tonight, including a roller coaster of a U.S. Open at Oakmont. The NBA Finals resume Monday night in OKC. Stanley Cup Finals could reach a conclusion Tuesday in Sunrise, but we begin with baseball. Going into Sunday's game against the Reds, the Tigers were 24-10 at home this season and had dropped just 2 prior series at Comerica Park all year. With injuries mounting in the starting rotation, A.J. Hinch employed an opener bulk pitching strategy, calling on left-hander Tyler Holton to start, then leaning on Sawyer Gibson-Long. This game started well for Detroit. Pick it up in the 3rd inning, scoreless for Jahmai Jones, who gets a hold of this one out to left and gone. His 2nd homer of the year made it 1-zip Detroit. The Reds got 2 runs in the 4th, but in the bottom of the inning, Wencel Perez goes deep to left center for his 4th of the year to tie the game at 2. Move to the bottom of the 7th. Javi Baez on second. Gleyber Torres at the plate. He hits a ground ball, gets through a hole into left. Javi's going to come around to score to make it 3-2. Then the very next batter, Riley Green, at the plate. He's going to crank one out to center. Nobody's going to run that down. The RBI double gets Torres home. Tigers with a 4-2 lead. But in the 8th inning, Cincinnati's offense exploded off of Will Vest. They tied it at 4 before Gavin Lux hits one just past Torres at second. This gets Elly De La Cruz home. The Reds take a 5-4 lead, and they weren't done later in the inning. Vest throws it high over Dylan Dingler's head. Christian Encarnacion Strand gets home easily on the wild pitch. Vest shaken up on that play and was removed from the game. After that, A.J. Hinch said that his pinky was bothering him. Reds go on to take the series 8-4, the final.
It's never easy, losing a winnable series, but that's what happened, and we get a day off tomorrow to reset ourselves. So, we should have played better today to give ourselves a better chance to win. Credit to those guys. They put up really good at-bats. They did hang in there a little bit. Their contact was plus. They hung on there with 2 strikes, especially late, and capitalized on the mistakes that we did make. So we've done that a lot to other teams. And so to be on this end of it is not great.
All right, and welcome to the roundtable. Seems kind of weird when I ignore you guys off the hop, but we're so far away, I felt like it was okay, like I didn't even really see you sitting over there.
Well, I can reach.
Formal introductions, our esteemed panel. Pat Caputo from 97 won the ticket. Also, Michael Stone, the retired Michael Stone, who actually seems to work more now that he's
Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday
retired than when you didn't. All right, let's start with the Tigers. I feel like it's so strange when we talk about them dropping a series at home because this is just the 3rd series they've dropped at home this season. They lost 1 to the Rangers, 1 to the Guardians, now this one to the Reds. Is it not necessarily a better Reds team, a case of maybe injuries catching up with them, Pat? Is it water finding its level a little bit? I know. Good. I like that reaction. Please.
Well, I mean, they made 4 errors today.
Yeah.
Okay.
They look like the 2006 World Series.
Yeah, they looked like they won the Gold Glove and we're actually using them today. And Elly De La Cruz, he kind of got into them a little bit because on that play with McKinstry, that was a play that really, really messed up the Tigers because he was so fast getting into second when McKinstry bobbled the ball, and that's what set off the whole chain of events. And then the whole thing with Will Vest having to keep, high leverage pitches, and it was inevitable that wasn't going to go well. And probably Hinch should have got him out of there a little bit sooner, but they shot themselves in the foot and were running around going, ouch.
Yeah, and, they take a lead, 4-2, and then boom, it goes. Look, it happens. It's baseball, and, they have the shortest losing streak in the division at 2.
Right.
Okay, because Cleveland, Minnesota, Kansas City keep losing. The Tigers are still.
And they still have a 9-game lead.
That's
the
point.
last 2 days, everything was L in the American League Central.
1-15 this weekend. The AL
and the
Central
Yankees,
went.
their main competition for the best record in the league, they lost to Boston 3 straight. So.
And the Mets are the best record in baseball.
And you know who's coming to town? Dan Miller's Pirates.
Dan Miller's Pirates.
And,
That's Dan Miller's home getting ready for the Pirates series, in fact.
Chalk one up for the Jolly Roger. They're coming to town at the right time. They have a 10-25 road record, Hammer.
Let me ask you something, though. There's a lot of people who look at this Tigers team, and certainly they have been really like the model of consistency throughout Major League Baseball. They have only lost, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 series all season long. But there are still people who look at them and say this isn't a team that's as good as their record shows, because they don't have that big cleanup bat that they lean on, because they do all of this kind of hocus pocus with the pitching staff, and because after Skubal, they've got some guys who don't always pitch consistently in the starting rotation.
And they have some injuries both in the bullpen and in the starting rotation. And you talk about the lineup. And look, they still need, and Scott Harris this week on 97.1, they're going to be buyers. They need another bat. And yes, the record is great. On paper, I know you don't play the games on paper, they don't look like a great team, but it doesn't make a difference.
Tell me, Pat.
Can I be the person that stands up and says this is BS in the town hall meeting?
I like it.
They're in the top third or top quarter, in some cases top fifth, in virtually every offensive category
That's
that
why
matters.
I said on paper.
And on the top, in the pitching as well. Their base running, they don't steal bases, but their base running metrics are outstanding. And today they were terrible defensively, but they're better than what you think defensively. So there's no great team in the American League. The Yankees have got flaws. Everybody's got flaws. So the Tigers, their record is what it is. I don't mean to be like Dennis Green, or whoever said that.
Yeah,
but it's what their record is.
They're a good team,
still a very good,
they're not,
and
they're
you
not
make
a
it
great
sound
team.
like Torque, Kerry Carpenter, and Riley Green. Those guys have been prodigious offensively, so I don't get the whole thing. Those guys have done well, and it's just about, like, people still have memories of things that happened in the past. But give credit where credit's due. This is a good team.
Absolutely,
Yes,
I agree with you.
Good, but not great. That's all I'm saying.
Well, they're playing winning. They're a winning team. They lead their division by 9 games, and they are playing winning baseball on a consistent level. I just am so curious still that there's just a lot of people around the country that don't pay attention and give them the respect that they deserve.
Because they don't have the high-profile names nationally, except for Skubal. You ask casual baseball fans who's on the Tigers, they all know Skubal. They don't know a lot of the other guys.
All right, let me ask you one thing. How important will it be for this team to get Reese Olson back in that starting rotation, or at least get somebody?
I watched his outing yesterday. He looked like he was throwing pretty well. It's important.
2.2, 4 runs, 2 hits, 4 Ks.
Yeah, but but he threw the ball well too. It wasn't like just the numbers.
No change-ups though, Pat. No change-ups.
I just looked at him. He was throwing 94, 95. It looked like his
was good.
Breaking ball was pretty good. And
he had good spin on his slider and his curve too.
Well, there you go. But he looked good to me.
He didn't look like Brebbia.
No, Brebbia. That was look. They need They don't need anything. But they to solidify what they do, they need another left side of the infield force, one way or the other, defensively, offensively, to cover that. They need another starting pitcher. It would help them a great deal because they've lost Job, and they need bullpen depth.
Well, the Red Sox are sell. They should get Chapman.
Well, Chapman would be somebody.
That would be something, wouldn't that?
Well, it would.
That would be something.
He has had a bounce back year, so he would definitely be on the table for that.
Yeah.
And the Tigers have a lot of prospects to trade, so they should be very active. And the window of opportunity is open for them because Skubal's, even if he stays, this is his peak.
Yeah.
You got to take advantage of it right now.
Yeah. All right. Agree with that. All right. We're going to shift gears now to the NBA, where before the season began, the Pacers had odds as long as plus 6,600 to win the title. Now, with the series tied at 2 wins apiece, they have more than held their own against SGA and the Thunder. Indiana is more than a feel-good story as Game 5 shifts to OKC for a Monday night tip.
Game 4 didn't end the way we wanted it to, but the biggest thing is you can't let one spiral into 2. You can't take the disappointment of that game and let it be a snowball effect. It's you got to be ready to go for Game 5 here, and again, a hostile environment, and we're both 2 games away. So anything can happen from here, and so you just got to kind of move on as quickly as you can, see where you can get better, watch the film, which we've done a lot of over the last 2 days, have a good practice today, and get ready to go for tomorrow. I know our group very well. I am proud of our resilience. We've had to find different ways to win, for the last 2-3 months. So proud of that. And we just continue to respond.
All right, there you see Ty Halliburton, and boy, has he been fun to watch, and this series has been pretty compelling, in my opinion. Obviously, that final quarter in Game 4 was the one that really the Pacers are probably hoping doesn't decide this final series.
It kind of makes up for the one where Oklahoma City blew earlier in the series. Look, Oklahoma City, 2 of the 3 at home. You still have to think they're the heavy favorite. As good as Indiana's played defensively and as well coached as they are with their old buddy Rick Carlisle, I just think OKC's defense is so good that they're going to end up pulling this out.
Yeah, I like OKC's chances better. But looking at it just from our standpoint, it's been a great series. I agree.
Yeah.
But from our standpoint here, it just tells you the Pistons may not be that far away.
Right.
Because if you look at where OKC was just a couple years ago and where Indiana was at the start, and the Pistons may be getting there faster than what we think.
There's a lot of people who are kind of kicking around this whole Kevin Durant thing, maybe what's going to happen in free agency. That's still a ways down the road. But when, to your point, Pat, are they maybe just a big player away and getting another guy or two healthy and contributing more away from being at this place where OKC and Indiana are?
I don't feel that way. That would help. Okay, but Kevin Durant, I want somebody to come here with $1 million and put it right here, and then I'll walk right away from the station. I mean, come on. No, but the bottom line about this is Jaden Ivey's back. If they had beef stew, might have been a different series against the Knicks. And everybody they got is younger and is going to get better. So
they need a bigger guy who can shoot from the outside. As good as Jalen Duren played, you can't have your big guy, whether he's playing 4 or 5, not be able to make a basket from outside 5 feet, and that's what they need.
And you talk about that, and then you see a guy like SGA play in these finals and just light it up during clutch time. I mean, 15 points of his 35 in the fourth quarter in Game 4, and he is just so sound. They played really good defense on him in Game 4, but then he was able to take control. And Cade has shown that he can be that guy, but he needs
what
help.
I mean. And I don't know, to me, that's, I think the Pistons are closer than what people think. By the way, Chet Holmgren in that game, his defense at the end of the game, he was out there guarding everybody at the point. They couldn't shoot over him. I know. They couldn't. And that, I'm like, wow, I've never seen a guy that tall, that long, move that well laterally and cause that type of disturbance. They got a good team. Williams and
SGA.
Yeah, and of course, Chet. That's a good team.
And Dort is really good there, and they have all those draft choices. They could be, if they don't screw it up, a semi-dynasty for years, because if they draft well like they had before, they'll be really good.
They're a good team.
Yeah, and I think it's been been a tremendous finals. I've enjoyed watching it so much. It's really been exciting, and it just proves that once again, though, in the NBA, leads are very.
It's a game of runs.
It's a game of runs.
As good as the NBA's been, the NHL's been so.
Yeah. All right. Let's
better.
shift gears to that. I mean, certainly, I think a lot of people thought when 3 of the first 4 games went to overtime that this was going to be a much closer series. But boy, when the Panthers decide that they're just going to step on your throat, they have been incredible. Is this Tuesday night, is that going to be the last game of the series, in your opinion, Stoney?
If I'm betting, which means go the other way, I'm betting. I think Florida's going to win. But things.
Home ice hasn't really held up in this finals.
Do with that. I mean, look, Edmonton, even last year, they were down 3-0 and came back. When you watch these teams play, and I know a lot of people wants McDavid to win the cup, and I get that. Florida,
excuse me, it's McJesus.
Okay, well, him too. Florida is the type of team that you wish you had, and it just, to me, shows you how far away the Red Wings are. And because even when the Red Wings were really good, they had these big, strong wingers. Besides Fedorov and Yzerman and Datsuk and that, they had tough wingers who were tough to play against and could score. They don't have any of that, and that's what Florida is. They're tough. They have size. They do. Marchand is just incredible.
Well,
that's
been amazing.
That's a great trade deadline deal there.
Yeah.
The Red Wings, what did they get? Oh, they got Mrazek. I mean, no, I'm not, trying to, but their trade deadline.
You've been talking to Dylan Larkin.
Dylan has a point.
Yeah.
To be honest with you, I mean, he did in the room. That's what everybody was kind of get the feeling saying, and he's the captain. So, and everybody in the town's talking about it.
That was a very captain-like thing for him to do, and I appreciate it.
It was, and I mean, everybody talks about it. I mean, except for Yzerman, act like we're crazy to say something like that. Like, really? Peter Mrazek? But, the bottom line about this is I didn't think Edmonton showed up. And you cannot go into a game and just kind of flounder around like that.
The final 3 minutes of Game 5, they truly just looked like a team that was disinterested. It was really incredible.
I know, and they started off really well the first 10 minutes yesterday, but they couldn't score because Bobrovsky was great, and boom, it was over.
Yeah, so they gotta show up. And
who plays goal?
I praise McDavid all the time as this great player and all this. But the truth of the matter, he's got to show up.
Yeah.
He's got 1 goal in the finals.
Yeah, I mean, he's got some assists, but he hasn't imposed his will here.
You guys are going to stick around. We're going to talk golf. We're going to talk about Oakmont because that was masterful theater or something to that effect this weekend. Stick with us. Coming back on the other side of the break, U.S. Open, plus some NASCAR racing. We've got much more to cover on the works with us as we roll on this Sunday night. All right, welcome back.
Stand by.
Oh.
3, 2.
And welcome back. Oh, no, I'm not going to say that.
No.
I'm not going to say welcome back because we're coming out of.
Here we go.
Will they cut it?
3,
Okay.
2.
J.J. Spawn, 64 feet, 5 inches on that final putt to win the U.S. Open. Only guy under par. An incredible weekend of golf that was frustrating, that was mayhem, that was rainy, that was sloppy, that was really a challenge and a test. Did you like it?
I loved it.
Okay.
I've said for years, the Masters is wonderful. It's great and all that. Give me the U.S. Open. I know they make it.
The rough, you like that 5-inch rough?
They roll the greens more. I think it's great. It's carnage. It's wonderful. And people say, well, you just want to see guys struggle like you. No, it has nothing to do with me. I suck, okay? It has to do with the fact that they find the best golfer.
But you probably have shot a 40 on the front nine like Spawn did today.
Maybe at a putt-putt course would I have a 40, but no. It's okay. To see these guys with this rough, it's theater. It's great. I love it.
He never had a top 20 finish in a major prior to today, Pat.
Well, it's
a guy you can root for, right?
It's my favorite tournament.
Yeah.
Okay.
It is.
And,
it's the best.
Stoney can appreciate this because he's lived here so long, but also Marion, where you grew up.
Yeah.
And, of course, we grew up right around the corner from Oakland Hills. We had a dime for every time we've driven by there, Jen.
Yeah.
Imagine how rich we'd be in our lifetime. So these classic courses, and Oakmont's one of them. And they've had them at these courses that have been gimmicked up and all this. And it was so great to see one of these classic courses where Nicklaus and Palmer had their biggest challenge, where Nicklaus took over for Palmer.
And back in the days when Palmer played there, the Church Pew bunker was entirely more difficult.
Oh, yeah. I mean, these guys, the scores that these guys are getting aren't any worse that much than back in the day, although Johnny Miller had a 63
on the final round.
What was that, 1973?
How did you like the names at the top of the leaderboard? So I think everybody does these little golf pools. I did a little golf pool. I had Sam Burns, I had Adam Scott. But boy, to see Scotty Scheffler just kind of like fall off the cliff
thing with Scotty
early on.
Scheffler, he's the one big name, right? There aren't big names in golf. The golf misses Tiger and all that, and it misses the days when it had all one or two players that you really wanted to see.
Rocco Mediate.
Yeah, well, people don't don't relate to the players like they used to.
Right.
There's a lot of mess up with the whole live thing, and it's just kind of confusing. So, but the truth of the matter is, the U.S. Open has often been a tournament where somebody comes out of nowhere to win it. Lee Trevino was a nobody when he won the U.S. Open and became a great player. So you never know.
At Marion.
You go, yeah, at Marion. And he won his second one at Marion. But, not to get into the minutia. Right. But there's so many different things that happen. And I just love the classic course, because people say, oh, it's just, the game, the equipment, the players have done this. To see that classic U.S. Open course show like that, it was so beautiful.
It is the truest
and the rain.
test.
And the rain and everything in June, you always have that. When they've had it at Oakland Hills, there's always rain or something.
The truest test of the best golfers in the world under some of the most adverse conditions.
And if it didn't rain, those greens would have even been harder.
Yeah.
I know.
All right. I liked it. Yeah, J.J. Spahn, great story. But
how much does he owe Victor Hovland for that?
He really does. He showed him a beautiful line, didn't he?
I know, yeah. Absolutely.
All right. We'll do that on Wednesday. All right, that's going to do it for you guys. Thank you. Stoney, Pat Caputo from 97 won the ticket.
We're playing golf on Wednesday. That's what she was saying.
I just want to shout out to
Pat?
the Panthers. That was a nice
and congratulations.
When was the last time Detroit beat a Washington team in a playoff game?
Not the
Caps.
Yeah, well, okay. That's
98.
Yeah, I was thinking more of football.
All right, stick with us. Coming back on the other side.
3 times or 4 times.
A lot of times.
We're playing at Tamashanner. Do you play, Pat?
Yeah, I used to a long time ago. I played with Stone. He's got a nice little waggle when he gets up to it.
He's got a kind of a Pyrrhic swing.
I might get out this summer and play. I shot par at Lincoln Hills once. 35.
Oh, did you? That's actually a very good score there. That's a hard course.
Yeah.
All right, so this is for Monday. We're going to do this for.
Stand by, guys.
I could never shoot par at Springdale.
I know, Springdale's hard. My best score there's 42.
I'm a 24.8. That's how bad I've got.
Here we go.
I
Stand by,
was
guys.
like a 17, I think.
Here we go. 3, 2.
All right, so this weekend the Tigers did something they'd only done 5 other times this season previously, and that was drop a series. Concern? Questions? They've been so consistent. I think that it's strange now that I feel like, wow, what's happened to them when they drop a series?
It's baseball. They're allowed to drop a series. They have the best record in baseball. They're a really good team. Are they great? I don't think they're great, but they're really good. So, yeah, no concern. The concern, if there is one, Will Vest.
I like you, Pat. What do you think?
Well, it's Will Vest, and also, if they were to lose 2 out of 3 to the Pirates at home, then maybe you can start to see a bit of a trend. But they actually should have won that game. Their defense was so bad yesterday, and they handed them a game like that. But the Tigers are in real good shape in a number of ways, so I doubt it's really going to be something that's going to be a problem long term.
Yeah, and perhaps maybe people didn't give the Reds due credit. They're only 6.5 out in the Central. NL Central's a pretty competitive division. Tigers, though, still have a 9-game lead over the Twins as they go into this 3-game set with the Pirates. And the Pirates really are not a great team.
Paul Skeens,
but
that's Thursday afternoon.
Is he going Thursday? So they won't see him. Scooble goes
Wednesday.
So Tuesday is Mize, Wednesday Scooble, Thursday TBD against Skeens.
And they'll see a pitcher that'll be available. They might want Andrew Heaney on Wednesday.
Okay,
a trade deadline type of guy.
I think the Tigers really will be looking at the trade deadline. How important do you think it is for them to get somebody, Stoney?
I think it's important. They need another bat from the right side, and with the injuries to the pitching, they need another pitcher. Even if Vest is fine, they still need another arm in the bullpen.
Yeah, I think they need a couple guys, 3 guys or so.
So are there more are there more concerns? Let me ask you this: are there more concerns with the state of the bullpen or the starting rotation at this point? There have been an awful lot of injuries to those starters, but the bullpen now, there are guys that just haven't really competed to the level that we saw last year.
What you want is somebody that can pitch in both. You know, that's why I put Zach Eflin down when I did this, because he pitched 10 games out of 20 in the postseason for Philly, yet he's a third, fourth starter type. But it's a pitching period. It's not necessarily a reliever starter. It's getting pitching depth period for the postseason, because you go 3 deep basically.
Right, and especially the way too that they're able to work the opener with the stretch guy.
Right.
And some of the guys they have who were really good last year, who haven't been quite as good this year, like Tyler Holton, they need to improve a little bit as well.
Yeah, and they got some depth in pitching in Toledo. They got a lot of guys that are like 4A type of guys, and they sometimes bring these, like Chase Lee.
Yeah.
He had a 9.53 ERA at Toledo. He comes up here.
Looks like second coming of.
His stuff plays up.
His stuff does play up. Well, I just think that's the whole staff and the coaching staff and what they've been able to do with all of these guys.
No,
is
it's
kind
a
of
miracle.
raising
It's
their
a
level.
miracle, Jeff.
All right, walking on water at Comerica Park.
That's what's happening.
It's a true blue receptacle.
That's fine. We don't have to kiss it goodbye. Canner's just going to cut that up. I just added a little extra stuff for him to pick and choose.